Hello everybody, how's everyone doing today? I received a question from one of my viewers and he asked me whether he should retire in the Philippines or stay in the US. Obviously this is something that a lot of people are struggling with when it comes to retirement. Especially those who came from the Philippines because they know what the Philippines is like. They have experienced the US, but it's quite expensive to stay in the US. So they're thinking, gee, do I want to have the convenience of the US or go back to the Philippines and enjoy the Philippine life? Fairly common, fairly common. So in this video, in this episode, we're going to talk about that and hopefully help those people who are struggling with this decision. So stay with me, hang loose. The first thing we're going to talk about is what are the negatives in the Philippines. We're going to talk about this not to discourage you, but just to remind you of certain things that may annoy you if you have been here in the US for a while and you get used to the lifestyle in the United States. And this could apply to other countries too, like Australia, Canada, but I'm not really that familiar with Australia and other foreign countries. I also lived in Canada for a year. So the first thing is there are too many people in the Philippines, lots of people, but if you don't like that, don't stay in Manila. Stay in the province, okay? Try to get away from Manila because Manila, as I'll show you later in this video, how much people we have in Manila. Very congested. There's also so much poverty, but I think things may have improved. I see less of the beggars on the streets of Manila, and this is more on Manila and not in the provinces, okay? Government corruption, but this exists anywhere you go. There is always government corruption or corruption in general. Philippines tend to be hot, okay? It's cool like Christmas time, but other times of the year it's either very hot or it's always raining. Not always. It's not as bad as I would say Seattle, Washington. Now, but for some people this is good for them, so you just have to consider that. Here's another thing in the Philippines, and they have not changed this yet. It's very slow paced, okay? Very, very slow pace. Now, if you are working in the Philippines and you need to go to government offices and such, this may annoy you, but we are retired. So just learn how to relax. It's not going to be as fast as in the US. So before you go to a place, get yourself ready and say, I'm going to be patient and I'll just bring some reading material if that's what you want to do, but just be patient, okay? So just relax, take your time. Now, also in the Philippines, there is too much useless paperwork in banks, in government offices. Just to open an account, for example, I got a phone call yesterday, and he said to me, just to open up a regular savings account, you have to fill out a lot of paperwork, a lot of useless stuff. They don't even look at this paperwork once it's done. They ask for your birth certificate. Well, no, not the birth certificate, but they practically want to ask you for birth certificate, get your thumb mark on. It's ridiculous, so ridiculous. Now, they're also sort of still backwards in terms of modern practices in the use of technology. Here, we get on the computer, order from Amazon, order from eBay, put your credit card in, everything is done with the computer, okay? But in the Philippines, it's not, they're not up to par yet with the United States. For example, I paid my real estate tax for the first time. So I went to the city hall to pay in person, and I asked them, well, they do accept checks, but that's how I paid my taxes. But can I mail my check to you? Nope. Do you have online payment? Can I charge it to my credit card or send you the money online? Nope. You have to come here in person. They will accept a check. I did not ask them about credit card payment. I don't think they accept credit card, but they do accept a check. For example, you also have to go to PLDT, that's the telephone company, the electric company, or if you want, they now have what you call a Bayad Center, where you can pay your bills. For example, if I have a PLDT or telephone bill and electric bill, I can just go there and pay in one visit, pay them at the same time. So you just have to put up with that. Now, although credit cards are accepted in stores, no online payment, at least I have not seen them yet, on other things like utility bills and such. But keep one thing in mind, not everything is perfect. If you go to other countries, maybe they're modern than this one, but then they will have some other negatives. So there's no place that is perfect. But you just need to be aware of this before you plunge into the decision to go and retire in the Philippines. Now I'm going to look at the positive side. Look at these things. Now this is especially true for Americans. Language is not a problem. There are 120 to 179 dialects spoken in the Philippines. But most people, that's depending on the classification, okay? That's quite a wide range, 120 to 170. That depends on how they classify each dialect. And I was surprised about this. I was looking at some statistics, and I understand 64% of Filipinos speak English because it is the country's second language. I feel it's more like 80%. So I couldn't believe that percentage because I feel it's about 80%. They also speak Tagalog, which is the national language. Although we have 120 to 176 dialects, Tagalog is the national language. So in school, you have to learn how to speak Tagalog. Now, some of them are not able to speak fluently, or some of them did not go to school. So obviously, it cannot be 100%. Now, look at these statistics here. In the United States, 231 million speaks English as a native American. 231. The population in the U.S. is 330 million. That's only 70%. Now, it doesn't mean only 70% speak the language. I just can't find the latest statistics. That's what I want to know, but I can't find the latest statistics. But these are Native American who speaks English, okay? It does not include like resident aliens or foreigners who speak fluent English, but they're not native. So definitely it's more than 70% as far as who speaks English in the United States. In the United States, beaches will not compare with that of the Philippines. We have beautiful beaches in the Philippines. However, this is obvious since Philippines is an island. Cost of living is low. But as long as you don't look for Western style living like restaurants, homes, etc. Okay? Homes in the Philippines are much smaller than in the United States. And the reason for that is look at the population density. In the Philippines, the density is 266 people per kilometer square. Okay? In the US, compared to the US, that is 9 times more than the US. 9 times. Now, listen to this because you will not believe this. In Manila, in fact, I don't know if this statistic is right, but I did Google this, and the population in Manila is is 43,000 people per kilometer square. 43,000 people. How can you fit 43,000 people? Well, you go there and you will see why there are so many people. And the thing is, during the holidays, you will see Manila almost empty. Okay? Not too many people. Why? Most of these people come to Manila to work, to do government office things, to apply for immigration, let's say, because they're in Manila. And many things you can do in Manila that you cannot do in the provinces. But during holidays, they all go back home to their provinces. So you will see Manila being almost nobody. All right? Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but it's pretty empty. And that was very obvious during the All Saints Day. All Saints Day, okay? You will see cars, the roads are empty, okay? Not too many cars running on the streets because there were no people. People went back to the provinces to be with their relatives, to visit the dead. It's very, very obvious. Now, look at some benefits to senior citizens. Since most of the people who will be watching this, thinking of retiring, are senior citizens, obviously. This is not too important, but nevertheless, it's a benefit. Free movies. Certain days of the week, certain times of the day, seniors can go to the movie house free, no charge. Okay, that's a nice benefit. That's a nice benefit. And it depends. For example, I live in Pasig. If I go to Makati, I will not get that benefit. But if I go to a movie house in Pasig, I will get that benefit. Now, there's also 20% discount and VAT-free or VAT exemption, which is about 12%. So 12% plus 20%, you will get about 30% combined between 28.9 or say between 28 and 30% is your discount. Okay, and this will apply on transportation, hotels, restaurants, domestic airfare, medical services, for doctors and hospitals, also on prescription drugs. As long as you have a prescription, you will get that senior discount. Something to keep in mind is here in the United States, when we go to a restaurant and we order food, you select food from the menu and that is yours. And each and every one of your company gets their own and they're served on individual plates. In the Philippines, they have family type dining, okay, which is when you order food, it's probably good for 2 to 3 people. So you share it with the others, which is nice. It's fun. That's nice. Very nice. There's only one thing I don't like, and that is they don't usually provide you with a serving spoon. I don't like that, but if you ask for a serving spoon, no problem. They will provide you with one. But that's just something that's common practice in the Philippines. Okay. Now, I also understand that bakeries have 50% discount on all baked products about 1 hour before closing. 1 hour before closing. So try that in the United States. No such thing. Services in restaurants are much better compared to the U.S. Okay, that's very nice. I understand also that Starbucks offer excellent Filipino food, not just coffee and few cookies or Danish. I heard about this, so don't hold me to this because I haven't been to Starbucks in the Philippines yet. Anyway, I will surely try that as soon as I get back to the Philippines. This is very important. Filipinos are very friendly. It's very easy to make friends. People will talk to you even if you don't know them, and you should feel free to talk to them too. Movie theaters are inexpensive. In addition to the free benefit for seniors, if you are a paying patron, movie theaters are inexpensive. There are nights or days, as I mentioned, that are free for seniors. Snacks are inexpensive too, and you are allowed to bring your own snack if you wish. Try that in the United States. You're not allowed to bring food with you. You're supposed to buy it from the concession. Also, movies come first sometimes in the Philippines before they're shown here in the U.S., at least by a few days. Not that important. And also, movies will be very important if that is your thing. Okay? Medical cost is much lower compared to the U.S. Private room could cost you $2,500 to $3,300, so that's about $50 to $66 per night. Compare that to the U.S. You'll be paying hundreds of dollars in the U.S. And by the way, that is a major cause of bankruptcies in the United States. When you get sick and you don't have insurance, you're dead. Okay? Now, the single most negative for me is that in the Philippines, medical. Even though it's inexpensive, if you, well, first of all, if you're a senior, there's free medical insurance called PhilHealth. But it does not cover a whole lot, and that is in addition to the 20 plus 12% VAT exemption that you get for medical services, and this is for seniors. PhilHealth will pay only a small amount, and you still have to shoulder the difference. There is balance billing in the Philippines, meaning anything that is not covered by insurance, you'll have to pay the balance. I wish they will change that law, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So when you go to the Philippines, I would encourage you to have a policy to cover you for major illnesses. I'm not worried about doctor's fees. If I visit a doctor because I have a headache, I have a flu or whatnot, it's cheap. Okay, sometimes it's much less than what you will pay in the United States as a copay or as a deductible. So it's that inexpensive. But when you have a major surgery like heart attack or whatnot, you may be in trouble. So I would encourage you to have I guess a U.S. type or overseas insurance. Medicare will not cover you in the Philippines. Okay, now supplemental insurance may cover you, but it's only for a limited time, like 60 to 90 days. What if you get sick 180 days after you have been in the Philippines? Supplemental insurance is not going to cover you, and the reason for that is they're also collecting some of the money. This is on the supplemental plan now. They're collecting some of the money from Medicare, and since Medicare will not pay you, they're also limited. Now, the Advantage plan, on the other hand, so look at the so-called Advantage plan. Okay, there are several policies offered by Humana, United Health, maybe even like other insurance companies. They may have Advantage plans, and they will cover you with no 60 or 90-day limit. So you can stay there forever, 1 whole year, 2 whole years. But I always want to maintain my contact in the U.S. So when I come back to the U.S., so for some of you, it may work if you have children, relatives in the U.S., but for those who will completely abandon the U.S., then that's something you have to think about before you move to the Philippines. I will be, every year, I will be in the U.S. So if I get sick, emergency, I'll just fly here for any major surgery. But that is the reason I chose Manila in spite of the negatives in Manila. It's because I feel much more secured. Now, Advantage plan will cover you only for emergency cases. So when I called Humana, for example, they said, well, Danny, you practically have to, you have to practically just check in at the emergency room for you to be covered by Humana. Okay? And also, you must pay first, meaning you have to have the money to pay, and then seek reimbursement in the U.S. So after you already pay, you're out of the hospital, then you send all your paperwork to the U.S. for you to get reimbursed. If you don't have money, that's a problem too. Now, check with the different plans you have available in the U.S. wherever you're residing, or whichever location you will choose as your registered address in the U.S. because different plans, excuse me, different plans have different coverages, and who knows? The reason I'm saying this is 2 out of 10 agents I talked to, they did not even know about overseas coverage. They did not. I just bumped into a United Health agent when I was in Seattle. I was at the mall, and they had a stand there selling insurance. So I asked him about this, and he knew about it. He even showed me in the book where overseas coverage is available. So I went back home, and I talked to different other agents, and some of them, no coverage. I said, no, please double check, please double check. And they come back and say, oh no, you're right. Okay? So do not just believe anyone selling Advantage plan to tell you that they do not have coverage. And those who say, yeah, you do, or we do, ask them for a copy of the policy and make sure you see it in black and white before you actually buy insurance from them. All right? So at the end of the day, this is a very personal choice whether you really want to go to the Philippines or you want to stay in the U.S. If you cannot afford the cost of living in the U.S., you have no choice. You just have to go back to the Philippines. Just be aware of the things that you could run yourself into. All right? So I hope this helps you somewhat, and please do share it with other people who may be struggling with this decision as well, and make it a great day. Thank you so much, and please do like, subscribe to my channel. I will appreciate that.